Okay, so Tim Tszyu dominates, batters, retains his WBO belt in a 12-round unanimous decision against Brian Mendoza. I'm going to talk about the most underrated thing in Tim Tszyu's game that I slept on, to be honest, and I was paying close attention. I'm going to bring up a load of clips and show you. But what a performance from Tim Tszyu. He's just too damn good.
Boxing.
I just couldn't resist with that pun. But no, shout out to all the subscribers. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, shout out to anybody new. I hope you guys got a chance to watch that fight. It wasn't like an electrifying fight per se. I think the pace was a little conservative to start off with. You know, Tim Tszyu, very methodical, slowly finding his range. Let me fix this 1 sec. Shout out to anyone that's borderline OCD like me. But anyway, we'll carry on with the video. He was slowly, methodically, you know, the fight got off to a slowish pace. You know, it was a little nip and tuck in the early rounds. He could have given it 2-2, I suppose, was roughly fair. They weren't clear cut, but, you know, obviously Tim Tszyu had a game plan, and, you know, that pressure, consistent pressure. In the middle rounds, he started to land. Started to get that uppercut going. He started to find his distance. But the bit I was talking about in the beginning of this video is Tim Tszyu's defense. Now, they spoke about that in the Showtime card. Al Bernstein mentioned that Tim Tszyu felt his defense was underrated. And I had to stop and think about that, because I was like, all right, let me pay close attention to it, because when you like, and it absolutely is. And I'm going to show you some clips right now of the cute, subtle things Tim Tszyu was doing, because Brian Mendoza post-fight had mentioned, you know, he just couldn't get his offense going. And well, why do you think that is? Because Tim Tszyu was so good at doing the little things, whether it was just stepping out of range. He always has his hands, not always, but for the most part, when it's time to, his hands are up, which is a discipline some fighters don't seem to have. Keeping your hands up is probably the most important thing in boxing. One or two for sure. And he does, but he also has an amazing hand-eye coordination in terms of concentration. Okay, he's very concentrated, and he's constantly watching. And I'll show you this clip, and I'll leave a bunch of other clips of where he's either just a little bit out of range, or he's catching shots here in the mid-range as well, which is that's the most dangerous range really, because you're in hitting range. Obviously, if you're long distance, you can step in and get hit with more power, but in the mid-range is a very dangerous range. And Brian Mendoza was even throwing feints, and Tim Tszyu would catch the feint like that and then come back and block it here, because he's always watching. Okay, so he's watching this, reacting. His reaction skills are some of the best, honestly. You wouldn't expect it from him, because you associate him with him being tough, powerful, strong, resilient, you know, game, all that stuff. And, you know, he can punch, and he can counter punch too. He's an excellent fighter. He is going to be a problem from Jermell Charlo. We're going to talk about that later on in this video. But basically, he was doing some superb stuff defensively. You know, occasionally he'll step back, he'll drop his shoulder, but he's out of range. I have to watch a bit more to see if he's planting his feet while he leans back like that, because that could be dangerous if someone's able to capitalize on that. But for the most part, his defense is superb. It really is. Obviously, his offense is his defense as well. So he's putting a lot of pressure on, but he's very, very responsible, keeping his hands up. He's able to parry, like I mentioned. He doesn't fall for the little feints and the traps so much. And, you know, he swivels his body, catches the shots here, swivels it around here, can counter punch whilst he's doing that. And Mendoza was, you know, he's having a hard time getting his shots off. And I feel like someone like Mendoza as well, I was thinking this in the middle fight, like really kind of falls in love with his own style, right? His styles are very beautiful. Boxing, lateral movement, using angles, got a nice variety of punches. But he feels good. He looks good when he's boxing. And I think he just falls in love with that a little bit, because there were times where I wanted him to just put a bit more zing on some of his punches, right? Because, and even Tim Tszyu said his punches, you know, would sting a little bit. But anyway, he's not able to land clean, first of all. But I felt like there were a couple of moments, especially early, when you got more of your power, that you could really let let some zinging shots go, if that word makes sense. But look, as the mid rounds got on, Tim Tszyu started to land more, and you know, by the mid late rounds, he really took over. You know, and then I think it was round 10 or 11, or maybe even both, where he really started to, you know, impose himself. And look, Brian Mendoza's got a beard. He's mentally tough. I said that pre-fight. I picked Tim Tszyu to win on points. I thought it'd be a little bit more competitive, but I thought Tszyu would do enough, and you know, just be that physical presence and just win the rounds with cleaner shots, counter punching. But I didn't know it would be that decisive, and massive respect to him. Tim Tszyu, like I said, he's going to be a problem, but it's his counter punching ability as well that can keep Brian Mendoza honest. But his defense, for me, is the hidden gem in his game. And like I said, he's very disciplined with it, but his concentration levels are through the roof. And I never knew that about him, because obviously, like I said, we're always talking about, not that he's the most powerful, I'd said like his power is like a hard man, strong, tough guy power, which it is. It's sturdy, but it's respectable. And then, you know, it's just his mentality. He's got a beard, and his defense. Great performance. Just a great performance, you know. And post-fight, he was calling out Jermell Charlo, and that is, for me, the only fight. It's the only fight, okay, for me. Because, well, I say only, like, I think the most relevant, and obviously, I haven't seen the Lubin Ramos fight yet. I haven't watched the Canelo card at all. I was kind of embarrassed that I picked Jermell to win, actually, to be honest with you. So I'm like, I had a lot of thinking to do on that one, but you know, you learn a lot from ones that you get wrong, because I leading up to the fight, when someone acts out a character like Jermell really was, he's normally really pissed off and angry and dialed in. He was super relaxed, and you know, I hadn't thought about that. I thought it was a good thing, but I was completely wrong. So nonetheless, Lubin and Ramos, I heard, was a bit of a controversial, but maybe Mendoza could fight one of those two. I know he's already lost to Ramos, so maybe Lubin, that might be a decent win there. But in terms of the 154, obviously Errol Spence is talking about going in that division. You've got Danny Garcia, but really and truly, Jermell Charlo and Tim Tszyu for the undisputed fight is really the only one, really, for me. Because Tim Tszyu, he's getting better and better. He's going from strength to strength. And like I said, he's developing. Well, maybe his defense was always there. I didn't pay attention to it, and you know, he's mentioned it was underrated, but I've paid attention to it now, and it is excellent. I don't know how Jermell Charlo is going to penetrate that. Well, he's obviously got one of the best, if not the best, 1-2 in the game, and that will be interesting. Wow, what a fight! What a fight! I don't know who I'd pick yet. I've got to see how Jermell. I mean, after that, I've got to watch the Canelo fight. But you know, I might lean to Tim Tszyu at this point. You know, honestly. Well, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about the fight? Do you agree with me on Tim Tszyu's defense? And you know, credit to Brian Mendoza. What a warrior! I said he was tough. He's mentally tough. He took a lot of shots that could have quite easily been stopped. You know, there was one point in the 10th or 11th where he was just on the ropes. He didn't clinch anywhere near as much, actually. And there was times where I was actually, because I'd called him out a little bit on his clinching. But there were times I was thinking, bro, you got to hold, you got to clinch, mate. Now's the time to clinch. And he didn't really. He's not great at it, but there were times where, you know, he just sort of let Tim Tszyu tee off on the ropes a little bit. But look, respect to both these guys. You know, they put on a decent fight, and class personified from both camps. They wanted to fight. They put on a good fight for the fans. Now, Brian Mendoza's fought three of the top 5 or 6 in a 154-pound division. One of them in, you know, like Tim Tszyu's backyard. You got to take your hat off to people like that, to boxers like that, because if every boxer acted like that, the sport would be a million times better. Anyway, that's it from me. I hope you guys are well. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm going to have the next video I've got is called The Art of Perfection. It's going to be about Dmitry Bivol and his Soviet style, and I'm working on that. It's a fairly decent project, but I really like the energy behind that, because I'm going to show you how he drills his style, where it just dips in and out, and he's able to punch off the back foot, and his connection from his feet with his feet with the ground, how he's developed it since he was a kid, is why he's one of the best fighters in the world. So, but it's going to take a minute, but I like where it's going. But I appreciate all the support, all the love. I hope you guys are well. Wish you well. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon.
Boxing.
Because I'm in boxing since I remember myself. And all my coaches said me before, you can be the best fighter in the world. Because I'm in boxing since I remember myself, and all my coaches said me before, you can be the best fighter in the world.